In section 8-6, you have to be able to factor a trinomial that has a number in the front. Okay? And when I say number in the front, I mean in front of x squared. We usually call that coefficient a. Now, I'm going to teach you two ways to do this. The book only teaches you one, and I'm going to teach you another way as well. Let's make sure that we're okay with factoring. Let's start with something simple from yesterday. Something where there is nothing in front of x squared. This was yesterday. Let's factor this. Yesterday you would have broke down x squared to x and x, and you would have broke down 10 probably to 5 and 2. Why 5 and 2? Because 5 and 2 add to 7 and multiply to 10. And hopefully you would remember your signs on those ones are a plus and a plus. Alright, now let's go ahead, take a look at problem 1.
Okay, let's go.
Alright guys, so we changed the notes up from the way that they used to be because I found a new way to factor, which meant the notes had to change. So you should have this portion up here filled out with whatever I had in my old video. But I do have a guest, Liberace with me. Say hello.
Hi.
And this guest is going to help me do the video today. So there are 3 ways in order to factor when you see a number other than 1 in front of x squared. What is the first way?
The book way.
Yay! And the book way is really not my favorite way, but if you want to use it, go right ahead. A lot of people actually kind of like it. What, Liberace, is the second way?
Guess and check.
Very good. Now this is how I learned growing up. But you have to be really good with your adding and your multiplying skills. Are you really good with adding and multiplying? Good, then maybe you could use those. Good. What's the third way?
Bottoms up.
The bottoms up method.
It's a song.
I kind of assumed it was a song, but I don't think we should probably talk about
No, we
what
should not
it
talk
means.
about that song.
Okay, well, I promise it's not about factoring. But I do actually think you guys are going to like the bottoms up method for factoring only. Okay, whenever it's comfortable for you, you pick that one. No matter which way you pick, you always have to remember to take out a what?
A GCF, or greatest common factor.
That's right. GCF stands for greatest common factor. Greatest common factor is what all things might have in them. But we'll see problems like that later in the lesson, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's zoom in here. So you guys notice on each side here I say which way to do the item. So this one we're going to do how?
The book way.
That's correct. The book way is really poopy. Ready? Well, I don't like it. You guys can do it however you like. If you like it, that's fine. We all have our own opinions, right?
Is it a lot of work?
Yes, it is. A lot of work, yes. How many steps do you think it is?
6.
Well, let's see if you're right. Okay. Step number 1, you must identify A, B, and C. And A is the number in front of x squared, so 5. B is the number in front of x, so positive 11. And what do you think C is?
The 2.
The positive 2. Okay, step 1.
The plus.
I did, because I want you to know it's a positive 2. Step 1, you are going to multiply what 2 things together?
A and C.
That is correct. And in this case, A is what?
5.
Times what's C?
2.
And 5 times 2 makes?
10.
So that's not a hard step, right?
No.
Wait, what, the semi-truck passes the room. Step number 2, you have to think of factors of what? What do I have there?
A and C.
A, C, that add to what?
B.
All right, now let's, oh, I broke my pencil. It's okay, I fixed it. That add to B. Well, what did we say AC was?
AC was 10.
And what up here is B?
Oh, 11.
11. So why don't you try to guess 2 numbers that multiply to 10?
5 and 2.
5 and 2. Now, in order to figure out if that's right, we have to add 5 and 2. Now, why did we pick 5 and 2? Because it
Is A and C.
it multiplies
to make 10.
Good. And we need to check and see if it adds to 11. What does 5 plus 2 make?
7.
Okay, that cannot be our answer then. Why don't you give me another choice? What else can multiply to 10?
10 and 1.
Now, how do we know that that's correct?
We add 10 and 1.
And what do we get?
11.
And so we know that we now found the right pair. Step number 3 is to rewrite the original equation. So you're going to keep the first term. What was the first term? Do you think you remember?
5x squared.
That is correct. But instead of writing 11x, You replace it with 10x and 1x, because what does 10 plus 1 make?
11.
So we're not actually technically changing the problem. So instead of writing 11x, we write 10x plus 1x. And how do we finish?
We add the 2.
That's right. That's because it was there from above. Now, step number 4 is grouping our new equation.
This is a lot of work.
Yes, it is a lot of work. So you group the first two things together. So what are the first two things?
5x squared and 10x.
That is correct. And then you kind of group the other ones, 1x and 2. Now what I need you to do, dear Liberace, step 5 is to figure out the GCFs in the new groups, I guess we'll call them, okay?
Okay.
So here's how we do that. What goes into 5x and 10x?
5x.
Very good. A 5 and an x. So what we're going to need to do is figure out if we take a 5x out of those two things, what we would be left with. What would we be left with if we take 5x out of 5x squared?
The squared.
Well,
2.
just... I'm confusing here. Now, wait, hold on. We got to take a time out because this poor girl never even learned what GCF is. So, I'm going to help her out. If you take a 5x out of 5x squared,
okay,
the only thing that's going to be left is an x.
Is another x.
There you
okay.
go. Now, if you take a 5x out of a 10x, it's like dividing. What would you be left with?
2.
A plus 2. Very good. Now, the GCF in the next two is kind of hard. The only thing that goes into 1x and 2 is
1.
That is correct. So that is actually the GCF that you need to pull out. Don't stress about this too much. We're going to divide. What's 1x divided by 1?
X.
Just an x. What's 2 divided by 1?
2.
There you go. Now you should notice, do you see how the parentheses match each other?
Yes.
We're going to rewrite this and we're going to be done now. This is the last step. We are ready to finish our factoring. You're going to pull out that x plus 2 because it's alike to both of them. After you pull it out, what will you be left with in the second parenthesis?
5x and 1.
That is correct. And that is how you factor the book way. How did you feel? Did you like that?
It was a lot. Well,
it was a lot.
Hopefully that's more than the other ones.
Alright, so guess and check is how I learned in high school. In fact, before I started teaching, I never knew the other ones even existed. So it's always good to learn new things, right? So guess and check. One thing I want to mention, and this is for any way you choose to factor, is when you see a plus sign back here, what do you think that means?
It means the sign will be inside the parentheses.
And those signs are going to be
the same.
That's right. So if you see a plus in the back, that means your signs at the end, the signs at the end will be the same. And that's for any method you pick. There. Okay, so you're ready to try guess and check?
Sure.
All right, now, again, if you're very good at multiplying and adding, this is probably going to be the way that you pick. And there's a lot less writing involved.
Which we predetermined I am good at.
That's right, we have predetermined that. All right, so dear Liberace, please tell me what multiplies to 6. Give me some options.
2 and 3.
Good, so in this case, we're going to do 2x and 3x. So you're just going to break down 6x squared. Give me some other options. What else could make 6x squared?
6 and 1.
That's right, so a 6x and a 1x. So you do that for the A term, for the first term. Then you do it for the last term. What multiplies to 5?
5 and 1.
Well, that's nice because you only have one thing to test on that side. But over here, we're going to have to do some guess and check. So here's how guess and check works. You do your double parenthesis because that's how trinomials factor. Now, pick a pair of these two right here. Do you want to pick 2 and 3 or 6 and 1?
We'll do 2 and 3.
Good pick. Let's see if you're right or wrong. Now, it really is at this point a matter of guessing and checking. So I had her pick either 2 and 3 together or 6 and 1. You can't pick like 6 and 3 and 2 and 1. You have to pick either 2 and 3 or 6 and 1. Now, you have no choice over here. You have to pick
5 and 1.
5 and 1. So let's put the 5 here and let's put the 1 here. Again, it's all guess and check. In order to figure out if you've done it right, here's how you check it. You multiply these two things together. What do you get?
15. Well, 15x.
Good. And then you multiply these two things together. What do you get?
2x.
All right. Now you might be like, well, what does that even matter? What that matters is you've got to get this magic number 13 inside. Okay? So Remember, everything on this up here was positive, which is actually going to mean that these are both going to be positive. Because you might say, ooh, 15 minus 2 is 13. But since everything's positive, we can't do 15 minus 2. We would have to do 15
plus 2.
And that makes what?
That makes 17.
She's sad because it does not make the magic number. What do we need?
13.
We need to get this magic number 13. Okay? So what we can do now is we have an option and you can pick. Do you want to switch the 5 and the 1?
No.
Or would you like to try like 6 and 1 instead?
We'll try 6 and 1 first.
All right. So we'll change this to a 6. We'll change this to a 1. Does that look good? Is that how you want to try it?
Yeah.
All right. Let's give this a shot. So you can rewrite this. I'm using a pencil. I'm just going to keep erasing it, okay? Multiply these together. What do you get?
5.
Okay. Multiply these two together. What do you get?
6.
And what does 5 and 6 make?
11.
And we need
13.
Okay, so what else could we try instead? Give me an example of maybe something that would work. Go ahead.
We can try 3x plus 5
Okay,
and 2x plus 1.
good. Let's see if that works. All right, let me get rid of all my things here. What does 5 times 2 make?
It makes 10.
And what does 3 and 1 make?
3.
And
oh, yay!
Yay, why are you happy?
Because that makes 13.
And we did it! So I know my sign's right because everything up here was positive. I know everything down here is going to be positive. So there you go. Okay? Make
Okay.
somewhat of sense?
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm going to teach you bottoms up. I think bottoms up is actually, if I'd been taught it in high school, it would have been what I would have used. So I hope you like it. Step number 1. How many steps do you think there are to bottoms up?
Maybe 6.
I bet there just might be 6. All right. So step 1 is it has the same couple of first steps as the book way. What do we start with?
A, C.
Good.
Which is 3 and negative 15.
Okay.
And that makes negative 45.
Very good. Okay, now I just want to make sure everybody's clear. We're getting the same ending result. We're just changing whichever method you want to pick, okay? So if you wanted to do the book way up here, this would be the answer that you would get. Okay? But okay. Liz, I think does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Okay, I'm so glad. All right, step number 2. What do you think step number 2 is?
We're going to take away A.
That is right. We are going to take away A. Keep going.
And replace C with AC.
Take away A and replace C with what?
AC.
All right, so what is
Air
that going to?
conditioning.
Air conditioning. I wish we had
need
air,
that.
right?
Okay, so that's x squared plus 4x minus 45.
Cool. Now, Liberace doesn't know this, but this takes you back to your lesson yesterday, and you should be able to factor this.
Okay.
You can't today. I mean, you can because you have it right there. But in the future, see, it's almost like we're like Back to the Future
Okay.
right now. You'll be able to do that on your own. Okay. So step number 3. What does it say?
Factor like 8 and 8
Like we
dash
did in
5.
8-5.
Okay, well.
So that would be like the section before. So factor
Okay.
like we did in 8-5.
What multiplies to negative 45 and adds to positive 4?
So we needed to multiply to negative 45, and we needed to add to positive 4. All right. What do you think take a look. What do you think that's going to break down to?
X plus 9,
Okay.
parentheses, and x minus 5.
Now, what does 9 times negative 45 make? Oh, I just said it. What does 9 times negative 5 make?
Negative 45.
Okay. And what does 9 plus negative 5 make?
Well, then, wait, 9 plus negative 5?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Pressure.
That'd be 4.
That would be 4. So you guys can see we have that multiply to negative 45 and we have that add to 4 right there with those two numbers. All right, so what's step 4?
We're going to put A, ooh, no, squeaky chair, back in,
Back
under
the new numbers.
Okay. Now everyone knows that I have the paper here.
No, you knew that.
Okay.
It was weird. We're just waiting for me to join you in chorus.
Obviously.
That's
okay.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to put that A back in under the new numbers. So we will now have
X plus
uh-huh.
9 over 3.
That is correct. So because a was 3, we're putting it underneath what we just did. So instead of x plus 9, it's x plus 9 over 3. Okay, what's the other one?
X minus 5 over 3.
Because we had x minus 5, but now we're putting a back underneath of that.
Okay.
All right, what's step 5?
Reduce.
And I think we can do that. Which one of those
think we
reduces?
X minus 5 over 3.
Well, no, not yet. Okay, ready? Here, take a look at this.
Okay.
Does 9 over 3 reduce or 5
Yes,
over 3?
that does
There
reduce.
you go. So what's 9 over 3 reduced to?
Oh man, X plus 3.
There you go. Does 5 over 3 reduce?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But you are one step ahead.
Of course.
Because you know what the answer is. What's step 6? What's the final answer?
To move the bottom up.
There. Look at that.
Bottoms
Bottoms
up.
up.
Let's sing the song.
Oh, no, don't sing it.
I know.
Okay. Really, I'm not. If any parents are listening, I'm not promoting anything. All right. So, what would the final answer look like?
X plus 3.
Because that one didn't have a bottom. Oh my.
With the owner of a gray Equinox, and don't ask me what the license number is because I don't know, it's in the front parking lot. Could you just maybe move a little bit because we need
One
to
moment,
jump the
please.
car
Yeah.
out there. Thanks.
I feel like if I had their license plate, I could like turn them in for littering and stuff, even though they didn't do anything.
I don't think you should do that.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I could.
What's the second parenthesis look like?
3x minus 5.
Now, where do you think that 3 came from?
It came from the bottom up.
There it did. There it was on the bottom and just like bloop, bloop, flopped right up. So if you like that method, I thought it was, did you like that one?
I like that method a little bit more.
A little
I
bit
would
more.
say.
So you've been through all 3. Are you ready to try the book way again?
Sure.
Awesome.